Hello students, you're welcome to our class today. This will be the third class in our series of tuples. Now we've seen what tuples are, we understand what a tuple is, we've understood what a tuple of tuples is, and we've also understood how to take values, how to access the values that exist within tuples. But today we are going to be doing something very interesting. We are taking things to the next level. Tuples have one very important ability and characteristics, and that is called the immutability of tuples. Immutability of tuples. Tuples are the only array in all of Python that are immutable, apart from object structures that are not open to normal code. But tuples are the ones that are open to normal code and are immutable. So what is immutability? Immutability means that elements cannot be added or removed from a tuple. Means that elements cannot be added or removed from a tuple. This is what immutability means. So when we say immutability of tuples, it simply means that a tuple is so strong as a Python object that nothing can be removed or added to it. In this class, we are going to try to break the immutability of tuples. And that's what we're going to do in this class. We're going to try to break it all in the process of trying to understand tuples better. So we will take this immutability one step at a time. The first one, number one, is what? Elements cannot be added to an existing tuple. And number two is that elements cannot be removed from an existing tuple. Now, cannot be removed from an existing tuple. Okay, isn't that very interesting? Elements cannot be added to an existing tuple, and elements cannot be removed from an existing tuple. Interesting. Elements cannot be removed, elements cannot be added. That is very interesting. The first thing we'll try to do is see if there are some code tricky ways by which we can add elements to an existing tuple. So let us create an existing tuple. I'm going to start by creating our popular tup A. Sounds like tup A, which is a man's. So our popular tup A, and the elements we put into it, very popular also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm getting to 6 this time around. Now, I want to add element 7 at the end. How do we go about it? Since we know that elements cannot be added to a tuple. A very interesting and beautiful way of doing it is to define number 5, or number 7 rather, because we are trying to add number 7 to it, is to define number 7 as a tuple. As a what? As a tuple. Now, we want to define number 7 as a tuple. Okay, so I'm going to call 7 tuple 7, or 7 tuple. Let's call it 7 tuple, which we want to add to this tuple now. Now, that 7 tuple, we are going to define it as a tuple. Sorry, I put a double E there. Let's remove it. Okay, so 7 tuple. Now, 7 tuple, we define it like this. We put 7 and comma, and that is our tuple. So, how do we now add it to this new tuple? Well, via a very simple Python variable replacement method. Although the mutability cannot be broken, but we just want to play around to see this. So tube A will now be tube A plus 7 tuple, and then that should give us a new tuple, which is tube A. So of course, when we print it, we would have tube A with 8 elements. Now remember, we have not really broken the mutability of tuples, but this is just an interesting way to show how we can just play around with tuples to give us very interesting analogs to what a tuple can be. Alright, let's copy this code. Remember, we have to comment out anything that is not a code. If not, we are going to get error when we take the code to our compiler. So every line that does not contain a code, I have commented it out using the hash, and then I've copied this. Let's go and paste it here. Hold on, we are leaving the media archive, and we are going to go into our code editor. We have a code studio also. For those who are not used to code editors, you can use our code studio. I'll be showing you how the code studio works after running this. So once you run this now, you can see we now have 7 inside our tuple. So even though we've not broken the mutability of tuple, but in a very interesting way, we've added 7 to our variable called tuple A. Even though this line shows that we did not break the mutability, we recreated A again as a tuple. But it's just an interesting exercise for us to practice our work in Python. So that is lovely. All right. Now, I said apart from our code editor, we have something we call the code studio. In this place now, we've written the code and embedded many of the code within buttons. So instead of writing the code from scratch, if you press a button, the button writes the code for you. For example, if you press print, it asks you whether it's entry or command. Entry means you want to write something. Command means you just want to use print as a command. So let's pick command. You can see it has put the cursor in between the print for us, and we can just put whatever we want to put there and say, that. And then we can run it, and if you run the code here, we should have our result data. Can you see? So I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to select print again, and this time I will choose entry. You can see it has put the cursors for me. Command means I am bringing something new. Maybe I want to print a variable and the variable is already existing. That is where we use command. Is that clear? Okay. So now the next thing we want to do is we want to now break the second law of the mutability of tuples. The second law says that you cannot remove an element from a tuple. So let's go and break that rule. Okay, we're back to our code editor, so let's go to our board. The second rule is what we want to break now. So I'm going to keep this one aside, and I'm going to open another text box, and then here we will try to break the second rule of the mutability of tuples. So let's copy that rule. Okay, and then we create a text box and paste it there. Okay, rule 2, you cannot break you cannot remove an element from a tuple. Okay, let us see. We are still going to apply our tube A. Okay, and this time around we are going to rename the 7 tuple as what we want to remove. Okay, all right. So our tuple is this, but our 7 tuple, we will name it 5. So we want to remove 5, or let's remove 6. We want to remove 6 from this tuple. We will call it the 6th tuple. Now this one is very tricky because we cannot just remove it from the tuple like that. We have to go through some process. We are going to be borrowing something from a code we have not yet learned. which is quite crazy. But when we learn it, we will then put it back. So we are borrowing something from a list. Okay? Alright, so the 6 tuple this time around, we will not make it a 6 tuple, we will just call it a 6. Okay, so we want to remove this 6 from tuple A, so that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of the ways to remove it is to first convert tuple A into a list. So to convert tuple A into a list, we will simply change it to what we want it to be. What we want it to be. We'll simply change it. Now, to change it, what are we going to have? We are going to apply list command, and it means that our tuple A will become list A. So let's do that list A, and then we just apply the list command, which is just the word list and tuple A in brackets, and it has become a list. So after this, do you understand? The next thing we will then do is we will say, okay, let us have, okay, we have list A. Now it's now a list. We will now go list A dot remove. Do you get 6? Now that one will remove the 6. Are you getting me? Now once 6 has been removed, the next thing we now have is to convert list A back to tuple A and print it. So now we'll convert list A back to tuple A and print it. So what we have, we'll simply have tuple. Now this now brings us to the command called tuple. There is a command. So tuple A will be equals to tuple, which is a command. The way we have list as a command that we used to convert a tuple to a list, we have tuple that we used to convert a list back to a tuple. So tuple will now give us, we are putting our list A into that tuple, and then we can now print tuple A, because tuple A is now back as a tuple. Let's go through it again. We want to remove elements from a tuple. We label the element as 6. Then we convert the tuple to a list. We remove that element. We convert the list back to a tuple, and then we print our tuple. That is all. Okay? So, Ctrl C. We are going to go try this in our code editor. Alright, we are in the code editor now. Let's paste this and let us run the code. Oh, can you see? Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have removed the elements from our tuples. Is that clear? We have removed the elements from our tuple. Is that clear? Alright, let us see how that will go. Okay. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to make it make sense. We want to make it make sense. Alright? We want to make it make sense. Okay, so now, as an assignment, now that you've understood how this works, you are going to do a very interesting assignment for me, which I'm going to write here now. You are going to create a tuple and then remove the first, third, and last elements from the tuple. The first, third, and last elements from the tuple. Alright? Okay. The first, third, and last elements from the tuple. We are going to remove them. Yes. Our tuple will contain 10 elements. Alright, and that is all. Okay? After that, okay, we will add 5 elements to the tuple. I hope we are all on the same page. Okay, all right. So that is all for this class. I will see you in the next class. As I said, my name is Ayo Dadebo. You can reach me on my WhatsApp number, which is 081 3662 8035. Thank you.